Heavy steering. What's your take on heavy steering?
You'll do find that a lot of steering boxes have changed for heavy steering. I mean, I've been in this industry since I left school. I started with National Bores and then I came and I've been here now for 27, 28 years. In that time, I probably have only ever come across 10 steering boxes that potentially had a fault that could have been giving what you would call heavy steering. But people automatically, when the steering isn't working properly, go straight to the steering. Well, it must be the steering box. And 99 times, or even 999 times out of 1,000, it's not the steering box that's giving you heavy steering. There is instances, obviously, where you can't get full lock, and people will say, I get a turn each way, and then the steering goes heavy. We've touched on that with the relief valves and the limiters. But when it's just a natural heavy steering, quite simply, a couple of things you can do without any test equipment that will give you a guidance of where you are. Is it heavier on one lock than the other? And the reason I ask that is quite simple. You do actually get more assistance on one lock than the other because you've got an input shaft running through one side, more surface area.
Yeah, more surface area.
That becomes more noticeable when the pump is not delivering enough pressure and flow.
Okay.
I get the comments of people saying, well, my pump's fine. I've took the pipe off and I've put it in a bucket and it's running out, pouring out. Yeah, but is it pouring out under pressure? Well, I don't know. Well, there you go, because flow is only good if it's got pressure. So a pump that's getting worn out will still give you 16 litres a minute if that's that particular pump, or 14 litres a minute if that's that particular pump. But it's when you ask the pump to work. So as soon as you want the pump to give you that 1000 PSI we talked about earlier, to give you power assistance, that's when that flow drops from said 14 or 16 litres down to 4 or 6. Steering's now heavy. Okay. A thing that can actually guide you in is it the pump is it really heavy on tick over? But when I rev it up, it actually improves. It's not great, but it improves. Again, pump, because the more you spin the pump, the higher RPM you give it, it'll try and give you that little bit more. A good guidance of if it's nothing to do with the hydraulic system on heavy steering, because sometimes it can be nothing to do with it. You touched on maintenance on kingpins, greasing kingpins. Yeah. Tight kingpins and tight thrust bearings on the bottom of the stub axle will cause heavy steering. And a really easy way to find that out is to take the vehicle out for a run. Go on a roundabout. Roundabout's the best way to do it. Go round a roundabout, and when you want to come off at the junction, let go of the steering wheel. The vehicle with the caster and camber angles should automatically self-centre the vehicle and drag it back roughly to the dead ahead position itself.
Can I put you across the car park in the garage as opposed to round a roundabout?
But once it starts to centralise, that's fine.
Yeah,
if it stays where you've let go of that wheel, in other words, it wants to keep going round the roundabout, that's not going to be a hydraulic issue at all. Because when you let go of a steering wheel and you let the valve close inside the box, it's now literally a manual steering system. If it's not self-centering, there will be something on the vehicle that's binding. Kingpins, UJ's another favourite, a seized UJ. So those are a few things you can look for before you condemn the steering box. But we'll go back to what I said before. We have a technical department. Before you go pulling off an expensive item, check with us.
I've known simply that if you push the UJ on a fraction too far, there's a plastic sleeve that fits on top of the steering boxes. And if you come into contact with that, that will give you heavy steering.
What can happen is when the steering box leaves here, it's got a protective plastic cover over the input with a rubber cover underneath it. Now, what can happen is they knock the UJ on too far, past the slot, which we showed with the damaged one that's been done there. But when they knocked it on too far, they actually pushed the rubber part into the gap between the input shaft and the casing. They then back the UJ back off, put the bolt through, but believe it or not, the steering will be fine in terms of power steering because the hydraulics will overcome it. But once you let go of that wheel, it can't self-centre because, believe it or not, that rubber in the front will bind on that input shaft and stop the box from centralising.
It's hard to believe, but it's a fact.
But it's a fact.
It is a fact, that happens. So be careful how much you do on that. Well, we're open for questions at some time. There's a lovely camera team here. I wonder if they've got any questions for us, apart from they seem to be falling asleep. So we'll let you go at that point, and look forward to doing you some more on other products as well, and other issues that we might come across from our particular portfolio. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye.